All right, so I want to take you back to Thanksgiving Day. It was about 12 years ago. And I had carved out about 4 hours to work on a project that I was super excited to get started on. You see, when we were kids, my grandfather had made this train set for us, and we had tons of fun playing with it. And I was going to take time that morning to restore it for our kids who were 3 and 5 at the time, and we were going to give it to them on Christmas Day. So I pour myself this big hot cup of coffee, and I start walking my way down the steps. And on the last step, squish. And there's like this gross feeling when you step in a wet carpet in socks. So I had that. And what had happened though was that overnight our 80-gallon water heater had malfunctioned, the bottom rusted out, and it ruined my day. That would be the Thanksgiving day that I would spend doing an insurance claim and not getting started on this project. I'd been surprised by something that wasn't actually that surprising. I mean, what were the chances? Upon further review, they were actually really high. With a 17-year-old water heater that should be replaced after 12, I was gambling, and I lost that day. But then I started to see patterns. It wasn't over then. I started to see patterns where, as a financial advisor, I would hear people say, you know what? We booked that trip to Hawaii finally. And wouldn't you know that 10 days later, our HVAC system broke. And now we either need to sell investments that we don't want to sell, or maybe even take on some credit card debt. So roofs wear out, HVAC systems too, hot water heaters, obviously. But there are more patterns that we can see too. We get older, our kids get older, our parents get older. But it's like we keep getting surprised by things that were practically written on the calendar. So here's my big idea. Many of life's biggest surprises are actually very predictable. And using my method today, we're going to unsurprise your life and give you a level of clarity that maybe you haven't had before. One of the reasons why people don't like to plan is that they think that maybe they'll lose spontaneity. Well, actually, the opposite is true. When you've unsurprised your life and you've gotten out of these hiccups that pop up all over the place, you make room. Somebody calls and says, hey, got tickets to that dream football trip in Green Bay. You want to go? And you can say yes. Or the dream vacation home or that dream job, you've made space for that. So I'm going to unsurprise your life starting right now. And we're going to get to that house stuff. It's super cool. But we're going to start with something more important than that. We're going to start with the people and experiences that are most important to you. There's this blog called Wait But Why by a guy named Tim Urban. And in this blog, what he does is he identifies our remaining lifetime, not by days or weeks or months, but by experiences. And so he calculated how many trips to the beach he thought he had left in his life, even the number of slices of pizza that he thought he would eat. So you might look and say, hey, looking out, how many times do I get to go to that island that I love to do? How can I unsurprise that? Or maybe visiting that person out of town that you love that's getting older. I want to tell you a story about our family. So we have this tradition called the birthday donut. And my wife started it when our kids were little. And she would get them a donut on their birthday morning that they would have for breakfast. And so years pass, and it's this cool thing that just happens. This year, our kids turned 16 and 14. And so when I sat down for this year's birthday donut, I realized before our son goes to college, he's got 2 left, 2 more birthday donuts. And then where he sits, there'll be an empty chair. And then our daughter will have hers show up 2 more, and there'll be an empty chair there. So you might think that that would create tremendous scarcity. But by acknowledging that, how do you think I did for that birthday donut? Do you think I was present? It was like the best birthday donut I've ever had in my entire life. And so there will be empty chairs in our lives, and chapters will close. But my wish is that we will identify those things and have the time we can with the people we love while we can. Because time is scarce, and that's what makes it sacred. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to count the moments that you have in your life and look out and look at the birthdays and different milestones. And please, today, schedule the next one. Don't wait. And then the financial tie-in is that we've identified these things and we can budget for what matters, right? So now we're starting to create this budget timeline. This unsurprise me timeline. So now we look out at your life, and I've started to help you to identify some of the things that you can look out and be ready for. And we're going to build on this. We're going to come back to this later. But now let's move to unsurprising your house. So this is kind of a fun and interesting thing to do. My dad taught me this. So you can create a home maintenance plan. So take all the systems in your house and write down the date of last replacement, and then take the lifespan of that thing, add the replacement costs, and let's say you have an HVAC system that you put in 2020. Let's say it lasts 15 years. It goes on your lifetime line for 2035. It's really easy, and you can do the same thing with your cars. But I want to pause, and I want to make a really important point. There are things in life that are horrible and that we will get surprised by. It happens to everybody, and bad things happen to good people every day. So I don't want to stand on this stage and say that we can unsurprise everything. However, there are a corner of those things that you can be better prepared for. So I'll tell you another story. So it was November of 2020. COVID is raging. Tuesday of that week, I took my car in for routine service. And I loved that car. Had 53,000 miles on it. Mechanic calls and he's like, Jay, I've got bad news for you. This car is throwing a code that means there's a catastrophic engine issue coming, and you could be on the hook for like $15,000 unless you sell that car as quickly as you can for whatever you can get for it. Like, that stinks. I'm gonna fast forward to Thursday of that week. So we're out for a family drive, and I start to see something come out from under the hood. I can't tell if it's steam or smoke. I go into full dad mode, and I'm like, all right, pull over, everybody out of the car. My wife looks under the car, and she says, Jay, there are flames. And so we get back as far as we can, and the car was fully engulfed. And we were super surprised. We smelled like burnt plastic. It was really upsetting. But it wasn't catastrophic, because my wife and I had created an account that we named our cars account. And we had been setting aside money in that account little by little, so we knew we were going to need cars. Her car only had 78,000 miles on it. We didn't think it was going to be that soon, but it was. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to list all the systems in your house, put together a replacement plan, research replacement costs, and add them to your timeline and budget. Okay, so now we're building this lifetime line. We've got your people and we've got your stuff, and now you might be like, that's a lot of stuff. Kind of intimidating. And some people might be like, I was okay this morning, now this guy brought this stuff to my attention, and so I'm not gonna leave you hanging. I've got you. There is something that we can do that can give you the keys to the decisions to figure out what you need to prioritize. And that is your personal values. These are my values: family, contribution, stability, joy, health, and relationships. So what happens is these are my North Star for every decision that I make. So when an opportunity comes my way or a challenge, I know that I can go back to the values. There are a lot of exercises out there that you can do to identify your values. So Once you know your values, then you're very intentional about the choices you make. Because here's what happens. If you don't know your values, shiny things happen, right? Like these things pop up and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then you get off track and you wonder how you got there. It's because you weren't leading yourself. So when your values are unclear, you drift. So here's what I want you to do. Identify your top 5 values and ask yourself, is the life I'm living honoring those values? If it is, great. And if it's not, then you know how to bring them back. And you can use them for future choices. And please, do this exercise with your significant other. Just because you love someone doesn't mean you value the same things. And I've seen it in action where when you make these decisions based on values and you honor other people's values, it puts you in a really, really good place. So then what you have is this timeline that's uniquely yours, right? So there are the things that are going to happen anyway, and then the things you want to happen, and then the things that are in alignment with your values. So this financial guy has gone this whole time without talking really about money at all. But can't you see why? It's not about investments. Investments are a tool, but so is a good health plan and relationship plan and some other things. And we have a tendency of making investments the main thing. There are a lot of other things on the timeline to take precedence. Market downturns will happen. Here's an unsurprise. I mean, we never know what's going to happen in the future, but a 10% market pullback happens on average once every 18 months. And here's one of the biggest mistakes I see. Making investment the main thing and being emotional about it, people go into one of two places. They either go to fear, and their money is very safe, and that's the main goal. Other people gamble, and they want to grow that pile as big as possible. But there's this little happy place in the middle where instead of just focusing on fear or gambling, you're investing on purpose. So what you've done is you've done all this work, and now you've created a plan that's uniquely tailored to you. So the near-term goals can be invested maybe more conservatively, and you can take more risk with the long-term stuff. All right, so I'm going to take you back to that Thanksgiving morning. It wasn't the day my water heater broke. It was the day I started to see things differently. But I have good news. I finished the train set. And our kids totally lit up when they saw it. But it almost didn't happen because I almost got surprised. I got surprised by something that actually wasn't that surprising. And so the biggest surprise for you is how much control you actually have over your time, over your choices, over your money. So unsurprise your life and make space for the moments that truly matter. Thank you.